All right, so I'm just going to look through my merge requests and stuff that happened over the past month. So yeah, we ended up reverting the set role set user title change over the Christmas break. We found out that we needed to implement a hard fork, big quote unquote hard fork logic to HiveMind if we wanted to make changes that are not retroactive. We spoke a bit about it with block trades, and we didn't feel like the added complexity was worth the feature for now, so it's been shelved. This will be done for later. I did a fix that beneficiary payout is included in the payout values. That also has been merged. Thank you, Dan. Uh, Meanwhile, I know Dan, you left me a bunch of comments that I need to review today. So the mock helper, I will add the helper today. Beneficiaries, it's still ongoing. The main reason why it's ongoing is because I need the muted reason API to be stored somewhere so that I don't have to recompute stuff. It's mostly a performance issue. Um, and And yeah, for that, I saw that you sent me a message 3 days ago, but I didn't have a chance to review it yet for the muted reason. But overall, I don't mind making the change so that it's empty. I mean, do not return
Okay.
the options. I don't think it would take that much more work, and at least it'll make Bartek happy as a middle ground. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm working on these days.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I didn't get a chance to talk to Bartek too much before the meeting, but we've been interacting indirectly for the past couple of days quite a bit. So we're still trying to get half the new version of half out. I think we're getting very, very close, but keep running into small issues along the way. So we've basically been just doing a lot of testing and then trying to make tweaks and changes as we go along. As far as our overall, I'd say like I said, I hope this week will be when we actually release, maybe even next couple days, if things go really well. The problem is the testing times for some of this stuff take so long. Every time we've got half replays down much quicker than before, but HiveMind itself still takes, even on our fast machine, takes 2 days. So that's usually roughly 3 days time to first we have to sync half, then we have to, which takes probably 14 to 20 hours, and then we've got to uh, sync uh, HiveMind, and even that 2 days it's still 48 hours, no matter how you slice it. So 3 days before we can do a final test again. So I guess really realistically, I can't say we'll be able to release until near the end of the week. I think I'm afraid. Um, let's see. As far as the things we've done, it's too much to really cover, but I think one of the most significant things related to what's going on right now is we've seen a lot of loading on the network. Um, and we figured out just, I guess, this weekend that one of the issues was that we were being spidered by some bots, and they were making a bunch of account history calls. And those are some of the most expensive calls, especially depending on whose account they're checking. If they check some of the accounts that have like really long histories, especially block producers, that can be kind of slow. So we've kind of blocked some of the spiders for now. So that should have things should be better on the overall network. Remember, here referring to API nodes specifically. This doesn't affect the blockchain network, but it affects API nodes. And so we were seeing a lot of traffic on our API node because of that, and some people reported slowness on like the front ends and things because of that. So I think the blocking the bot should probably have temporarily resolved the problem, although I haven't checked myself. And moreover, we have a much better solution long term. Some of the changes we've been making with half 2.0 have really speeded up get account history calls in particular. So I would say in some cases as much as 100x times faster than previously. So I don't expect any problems once we get the new version up. So we'll probably be deploying it on our site this week, maybe even the next couple of days, because that I can do before we can divert half the traffic there, account history traffic there, before we divert HiveMind traffic there, so we don't have to wait for HiveMind to fully replay. Beyond that, I don't really want to get into the details of problems we've encountered and things we fixed. So it's probably better to see if there's anything that's more related to what everybody else is working on. I guess one thing we should mention if anyone's uh, doing half work right now, we're making a change to the way operation IDs are stored. So operation IDs are basically in the previous version of half, it was literally the number of the operation in the blockchain. So it would, if it was the 10th operation put into the blockchain, the operation number would be 10. If it was the 100 millionth operation of the blockchain, then the operation ID would be 100 million. So I don't think any apps really rely on that value to be that way. I think they mainly just rely on it being sequential. All of our apps do, for instance, they only rely on it being sequential. But if anyone's relying on it being an absolute number that's incremented by one, then the changes now so that that operation ID is being replaced by a block number followed by the index of that operation within the block. So it's another way to basically say the same thing. We identify the block and then we define the operation's position inside the block. So hopefully that doesn't cause anybody problems, but if they do, let us know. And I'm just going to leave it kind of short there because I want to get back to work and I got a lot to do today.
Can I ask a question on that, which
Sure.
might be maybe I use transaction IDs all over the place. You're not talking about the
No,
TRX ID.
the TRX ID is fine. That hasn't
fine.
changed. Yeah.
Because I've come across a problem in my work, which is just because of stuff I did 3 years ago when I didn't know what I was doing, that the transaction ID doesn't uniquely lead to an operation because there can be multiple operations in a transaction.
That's right.
What I should be using, if I'm going to rewrite everything, which I am, it might be that I would rather use what you've just described, which is a block operation plus the operation ID.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to uniquely identify an operation, that's exactly correct.
Or I'll have to do what I should have done from the start, which is add the operation ID ordinal onto the end of the TRX ID. But
so actually, I should make one clarification too. So the new operation ID is a little more than just what I said. I just was kind of glossing over it a little bit. The actual new operation ID is the block number, then it's the position in the block, like I mentioned, and finally, it actually contains inside the field. We're also squeezing in the type of the operation. So that one field has everything, has not only its position but also the type of the operation embedded inside of it. So it's like a what's the term?
That also makes it good for filtering then.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that was being built in.
That sounds like a pretty huge thing, actually. I like it because
it solves a problem we ran into. That's probably the main thing for it. But there's been the other thing I should mention that's kind of significant in terms of performance was we're now clustering the account operations table. And so that really that's where we're getting a lot of speed up I mentioned in the account history calls. And basically when you cluster a table, it basically organizes the table in the same order as whatever index you've specified. So you can basically put all the data of a certain type close to each other inside the table. So it's really helpful for certain kinds of tables if you're doing searches in the tables, if all the data of the type you're most likely to search for with your queries is in the same location on the disk. So that's probably the biggest performance improvement we made. I guess, well, that's on the database side. The other thing we did was we speeded up half quite a bit in terms of how fast it replays. And a big change there is we're no longer using inserts to put the data into the table from Hive D. We're using another statement Postgres supports, which is called a copy statement. And for whatever reason, inserting that way is just much, much faster than doing inserts. So if you've got an application that needs to stream a bunch of data fast into a database, these copies can be a very useful alternative to inserts. So I guess let's just open it up to anybody else who has anything to talk about or has any questions.
Yeah, quick updates from my end. We've been having those issues with the half API node with that ticket still open. I'm really happy with the speed of loading now. That was a great milestone because we've replayed, I think, maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah, being faster is better.
I love that. But I left a note a few days ago. I think we reached the stage where everything was complete, but still the process shut down. I left you a log there.
Yeah, I saw it. I did see it. I didn't know what was going on right offhand, and I haven't seen that particular behavior, so I'm not sure yet what it is. But I will get back to that for sure soon. I want to get out the new version that we have,
Okay.
and then I'll get back to that for sure.
No worries. I'm gonna actually try to do. I mean, to do an old-fashioned replay without the whole log thing and see how it goes. Instead of if we don't replay via the log file, we don't need to make those changes towards the end, right? To modify the environment file and then stop the replay and then do these things again. I'm guessing something relates to these changes. This is what happened with us on the last run.
Yeah, it could be. It could. Well, you don't actually. You can do a replay without using the file too. You can actually.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, you can still do a replay, just not use the script.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's probably a reasonable thing because I haven't tried the script myself in quite a while. So that's
okay.
I've been doing manual runs myself.
Okay. Cool. And another thing, I mean, we're doing with ActiveIt. It's about the Java API for Hive. We use that because we use native API development for our Android app. So it's open source, of course. We're building a complete Hive API that can be reused elsewhere. So hopefully we should be able to release this within the year.
Oh, cool. Is that on a repo somewhere now, or is it just internal right now?
No, currently, no. It's public on our repo under ActiveIt, but it's bundled within the app, the Android version.
Okay.
There's a utils class inside it. There are a few functions that help out with some of the functionality, but we intend to completely rebuild this and make it separate so that anyone who wants to build it on their own and use it as a public API for Hive that is Java or Android built, they should be able to use that.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. Bartek, I'll mention one thing. I did find one issue with the latest change I made for the clustering code. So I'm going to push a fix after this meeting. It's not a big deal. It basically means if you shut down and restart, it'll cluster again. So I don't think it'll cause any immediate problems for any of the ongoing tests we have, but I'll push a fix so that we won't. So if you're running a test now, don't shut it down and restart it until I push the fix. Okay. Anyone else have anything? Bartek, did you have anything to report on your side? I saw you had merged in the changes for into the account, the operation ID branch.
Yes. I have changed the way how they are generated according to the decided how to write it. We also have been merged today a few other changes because I'd like to have some common version.
Yeah.
And
you know that's what I always want. That's why I'm laughing so much right now.
Yes, but sometimes you are too fast. Anyway, we have also merged some quite important changes related to half instance maintenance and automatically detaching of applications, which earlier happened prematurely. And applications which started when half instance was not yet ready were killed immediately. It was ready for live synchronization. And there are also done changes related to, let me
I think you did something related to the fork, to the speeding up the
Yes,
application.
yes, yes. Actually, it was quite complex problem related to locking between Hive calls, which changed irreversible block, and the code, the application consumed that information and data. And even description of merge request and initial motivation didn't see so important. I think this is quite important change, which can significantly help in our.
So it could solve our locking problem, basically, hopefully.
Yes. Okay,
exactly. Great. I saw. I was going to say one other thing on the. I did review the change you made for the for passing the context for the wait for ready instance, which it looked good. The only thing I wanted to add was we used that call for some other applications that don't have context. So I assume in those cases we'll just pass an empty context array, and looks like it would be fine.
Okay, so of course we can discuss another cases also.
Yeah, I think the balance tracker, the code that installs the balance tracker checks for that before it creates indexes for balance tracker. So we'll need to modify that call to pass, I think, just an empty array. I think it'll work. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll try it after the meeting. And then I guess, do we think that the issue with the locking will solve Hivemind problem, or?
Yes, I hope so. Anyway, I let one of our guys, which written few years ago, quite complex multi-threaded provided data provider code. I managed to simplify it because previously it was optimized to network calls because Hivemind have been data supplied to Hive-G API calls, and right now we have a much more efficient way to get data from database, and definitely there is no need to have such complex data access there. And I think part of Hivemind problems, the locking Hivemind problems, can be also related to complex nature of such calls, and few threads which can be still active when Hivemind enters live sync, and still they can still have open a transaction.
Yeah, okay, I see that could be a problem.
Logs.
Yeah. Right.
So that can explain why this problem appears only at Hivemind instance and never on different applications.
Okay, yeah.
So I hope it will be simplified quite soon.
Okay, so that work's already got started?
Yes, today.
Excellent. Okay.
Marcin started analysis it, and I hope also the work is progressing, but the code is quite complex, and as far as I yesterday looked at there, it was just too complex.
Yeah, I know that code. I've looked at it before too. It's way too complicated. It's like multi-threads and caching bunches of data blocks.
Yes, and concurrent queues. But really, this code very improved speed of all Hivemind.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand it was important at the time. Unfortunately, fortunately, we don't need it anymore. So, okay.
That's true.
Sounds good. That made me think of something else. What was it? Oh, did you probably won't understand why this made me think of something else, but it did. Did you see my message about the Go Replay software?
Yes, we saw it. Probably we discuss it more tomorrow at office, and we will try to find someone to analyze it.
Okay, excellent. I think it's going to be really important to check our API calls for responses. But the thing is, they're going to differ. We know. I mean, Eric's done a little bit of this work already, and it was clear that there were differences. But a lot of the differences, aren't important. So what we need to do is sort of find out what differences matter. So we need somebody who's aware of the API calls, has some basic knowledge of the API calls to sort of analyze that.
Sure, definitely. We will focus on that. But today we were
not today.
On getting everything to
we
work.
Need something to test before we can test it. But if we had anybody free to work on it, I figured we could start throwing somebody at it. So.
I think someone will be fined for that.
Okay, great.
We can do that. Yes, I think for most important works, that's all what we
Okay.
can say now. And then we need to wait until tomorrow to see effects of started replays and testing to check.
Yep. So
what happens there.
I've got one replay finished, I think, or just about finished for the new indexing stuff on Steam 16 because it's the fast machine. So I'll be testing that soon. I'll get back to you on how that goes. Let's see. Other than that, how is other projects going? I saw you making some commits related to I think seems like I don't know if it was Clive or if it was the WAC stuff or what, but I saw a few other commits going in. I didn't know.
Yes. That's some common library. Maybe it will be interesting subject for Mac Farhat, which is trying to integrate Android stuff with Java. Because we in the past had problems with integrating Hive mostly to Python and to JavaScript because we tried to implement our Clive wallet, which is written in Python, and of course we have a lot of TypeScript projects which are representing front ends. We developed some module which is cross-language module and provides common Hive functionality with such environments. And of course, there is no support for Java, and actually, I'm not sure if that environment is still needed there, but we are iteratively supplementing support there by features required by mostly our front-end developers, because we'd like to eliminate duplication of code in each front-end application and put their common stuff like asset formatting, operations formatting, and other lower level processing code, which mostly is shared to C++ code of blockchain, because we used WebAssembly technology to provide it to it is also shared to Python environment through Python extensions. So yes, the work has been committed there lately because we required some parts of code literally to be ready for Block Explorer to display operations and asset values in front end.
Okay. So you're making API calls to that code for Block Explorer.
Yes, and guys, actually, that's not API calls. That's our regular functions, which then.
Oh, they're like calculational calls. So it's more like.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I
Calculations of conversions of assets in NAI form, numeric asset identifier form into some textual version.
So previously, people were basically writing this kind of code, and if they had to do something like this, they wrote it in, I guess, JavaScript and were
rewriting and they easily can integrate such code into their applications, and they have a guarantee that it is written correctly and works.
Okay, so this is code that could be useful for a bunch of the front ends, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
The libraries in general.
Yeah, I would love to check it out. If you can share a link, if it's a public repo, I'll have it.
Yes, of course. It is in public repo. You can also take a look there because we have a few months ago created Google protobuf definitions of operations in Hive, and there are also generated code for TypeScript and for Python from such protobuf definitions, which are supplemented by comments and other important informations. And such protobuf definitions are stored inside a Hive repo, inside protocol subdirectory, but it is directly shared to the WAX repo and results in generation of such representations specific to given language. Probably if you are interested in using operations or consuming them somehow, you can try to generate Java stubs also from that code and use it directly. And this way you will have access to maintained definitions of every operation without that your own definitions will be outdated somehow. That is especially important for virtual operations, which can change sometimes.
So
Yeah,
just this is the Wax library, correct?
Yes. That everything is this one library because we decided to have some one point where cross languages can get some support from Hive.
So you can just find it under the Hive group under Wax, Farhad.
okay, I'll have a look at it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that's probably all that we have to report. I don't know if anybody else had any issues they wanted to bring up. It looks like we have a smaller group today, so might be a shorter meeting.
All right, it looks like it. Cool. Well, thank you everyone, and see you next time.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks guys.
guys.